Welcome to another episode of the Chicks on the Right podcast. We are back with our bestie, Scott Jennings.
It's Scott Jennings, everybody. Scott Jennings.
Whose book, Revolution of Common Sense, is out next week on November 18th, which is coincidentally my 25th wedding anniversary. Thank you for planning it that way.
Oh my gosh.
Scott is the host of the Scott Jennings radio show. And of course, our audience is most likely most familiar with his epic smackdowns that happen all across CNN, all their shows, but mostly on the Abby Phillips show. Mm-hmm. So happy to have you back with us. And we want to hear all about your book tour. How's it been going?
Yeah.
Well,
travel.
It's always great to see you too. And I'm going to give you a report. I've been flying all over the country. I've been to California, Chicago, North Carolina, you name it, Kentucky, everywhere I go. Somebody at every single event walks up to me and says, the chicks.
I don't believe you. I don't.
I want to send it to the chicks. And so you all are probably getting photos from around the country of me with random strangers who just want to send you all pictures of me. And so it's been everywhere I go, someone talks to me about the chicks. So that's number one.
Oh my goodness.
Number two, it's going great. The book comes out Tuesday, and you can go on Amazon and buy it right now. And if you look on my social media, there's actually also a way I think you can buy an autographed copy of it if you want one. We have that set up as well. I've signed a ton already, but it's going great. And it's my first book. I'm a little nervous about it, but people seem to be into it so far. So I'm really grateful for everybody who's bought it, and looking forward to it hitting the shelves on Tuesday.
I can't wait.
Of airports, and I keep seeing the bookstores, and I'm like, pretty soon I'm going to walk into one of these bookstores and my book is going to be sitting on one of these shelves. And I'm just going to stand there and sort of yell at people until they buy it.
Yeah. I can't wait to read it. I just cannot wait. Yeah. So it's all about common sense. Our book actually has the phrase common sense in it. And I feel like common sense it's like disappearing. It's endangered, Scott. It's like...
Well, the reason I called it a revolution of common sense is because the president said this phrase in his inaugural address. And when I heard it, I thought that would be a great title for a book. I mean, that is effectively the political branding he's given the conservative movement.
Yeah.
We're having a revolution of common sense. And of course, I hearkened back at the beginning of the book to Thomas Paine, who wrote the pamphlet Common Sense. And I think, that connective tissue to our founding and the connective tissue to the idea that, we don't have to accept things as they are. We can get back to common sense if you feel like that the other party, which I do, has moved us towards uncommon nonsense on a lot of topics. And so if you look at the chapters of the book, I picked out things that I thought, okay, Trump took office and was facing uncommon nonsense. What did he do to restore common sense on this particular area? So you'll see that sprinkled throughout the book.
I love it.
That's awesome. So has the shutdown impacted your tour with all the flights and the delays? I mean, what do you make of all this, the Dems caving, so to speak?
Okay, I'm just going to admit this. No, absolutely not. I went from Washington to San Francisco to Chicago to Greensboro, North Carolina to Louisville to New York. I have been to D.C. And San Antonio. I've been all over. I have tiptoed through the tulips here and not harmed a pedal on any one of them. I don't know how I did it. I barely stood in a line. I haven't had a flight delay. And so
wow.
I just want to personally thank the president for ordering the FAA to keep me moving in the right direction.
That's amazing. I took one trip last weekend just to see Mock, and I got screwed. So that's remarkable. Like, you've been touched by God. It's the hand of God, Scott. It's amazing.
I've been very fortunate. But I will tell you, every time I go through one of these airports, and these TSA people, they're showing up for work. They're not getting paid. I think about, they're going a long time here without getting a paycheck.
Yeah, it is a lot.
And it was all for politics. What did we learn?
Totally.
The Democrats did this whole thing for the election. They then didn't really know how to get out of it. So they just caved. They got nothing. I felt like Judge Smales in Caddyshack. You'll get nothing and like it. But that's what happened to them.
Yeah.
Not reward bad behavior by giving them anything. And it was purely political. They didn't care who they hurt. They hurt these federal employees, all these SNAP beneficiaries. Republicans were repeatedly voting to fund SNAP at the Biden budget levels. Yeah. Democrats repeatedly voted to defund SNAP.
Right.
Pretty simple. You can't really refute the congressional record on this.
I think that. But do you think that they won the battle? Like, do you think who do you think politically won this battle? Because I know Democrats are caving, but I don't know how good Republicans are coming out just to the average person who isn't as engaged as the three of us might be. What do you think about that?
I don't think anybody ever wins a shutdown, truthfully.
Yeah.
Look, I think, what did we learn? Instead of who won, what did we learn? We did learn that Obamacare is a totally failed and collapsed system. That the Democrats succeeded in reminding everyone that the Affordable Care Act was not affordable. You cannot get care if you have one of the plans. It was an act, so it has one of the three things that's still going for it. But other than that, it's a totally collapsed system. Mm-hmm. We learned that they're willing to hurt people for politics. And we learned that there is a raging civil war going on inside their party between, the establishment Chuck Schumer people and all these upstarts, radical progressive upstarts around the country. So who won? I don't know. I would say Republicans have some things here, some opportunities. We could put our own imprimatur on the healthcare debate if we felt like it.
Yeah.
And we could exploit Democratic divisions if we felt like it, because I think the people who are ascendant in the Democratic Party right now are going to be broadly unacceptable to most Americans.
I think it also showed us that welfare is out of control. Kind of like when we were going through COVID, and it showed us how crappy our education system is. It showed us, 42 million people on SNAP. Are you freaking kidding me? So there's that. And then, it also showed us that our messaging still sucks. Our party is so terrible. That's one thing that almost 20 years, Mock and I have been talking about that, where we're always on the defense, never on the offense. And so when it comes to economics and affordability and things like that, I just think that our party could get, I don't like to beat up on our party, I really don't. But I just think that when it comes to messaging, we tend to be a little more on the defense than ever on the offense. And we've got to learn to play offense better, because things are getting better for people. Especially when it comes to 401ks and things like that. I just think that we need to learn to pat ourselves on the back and get that message out early and often and let people know, listen, things are okay. Look at what he's done just in the short amount of time. It's pretty remarkable, especially when you look back on the last president who he wasn't even there. He was like Weekend at Bernie's. It's such a stark contrast.
On this offensive idea, I will say at the end of the debate, at the end of the period here, Trump going on offense against insurance companies, I actually thought it might have been a little late coming, but I thought that was the correct tactic. Effectively what the Democrats want to do is send billions of dollars to insurance companies. Now, Look, I own a small company in Kentucky. I get a letter every November. It says, well, your premiums we pay for our employees' insurance. Your premiums are going up by another 10%. You know what it doesn't say? Your benefits are getting improved by 10%, or they're going to get 10% better healthcare outcomes. So we keep sending money to insurance companies. No one feels like their insurance is getting any better. No one feels like they're getting any healthier, but we keep sending these people more money. And I thought Trump was correct about that. Now, what we do about it as a party, that's sort of the next iteration of this debate. But I think people would love it if you would just kind of meet them where they are. And I think where they are is, look, I have insurance, but it doesn't feel like I have insurance. My deductibles are so high, it doesn't even feel like I can use it. And
yes.
Right? It's like I have this thing. It's like if I had a helicopter on my front yard. Well, I have a helicopter, but I can't fly it. So what good does it do me? It's like this is what an insurance plan is like right now. This expensive thing that I pay for is sitting here, and I can't really do anything with it. If we meet people on that and somehow allow them to bypass this system that feels like not insurance at all, that would be a good outcome here. I don't know how likely it is we can do that, but being on offense means solving problems.
Yes.
People do believe this is a problem. Could we solve it? It's worth a shot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've always thought that it should work like, and granted, I don't know enough about insurance to get into like the weeds about how this would work exactly, but I've always not understood why it doesn't work like car insurance, where you pay for your maintenance, right? Like your body maintenance, you pay for your checkups, like you do with your car, you change the oil and the gas and all that. But when you need it for something catastrophic, it's there. And I feel like it's become so convoluted with, everybody expects that they should have a $20 copay or at the doctor's office instead of just handling the routine issues and using insurance for the big stuff, which is what you do with car accidents. I don't know. That's just an idea that I've always not really understood. And it's too employer-based, and all of that stuff is a problem.
It's kind of a mess. It's a big mess.
Well, this idea of transparency in it, you go to the doctor and you get the bill, or you get this thing from your insurance company and you look at it. if you can even decipher it, that's one thing. B, you start to look at it, well, it costs this, but then they're only going to pay that. And I mean, it looks like some huge money laundering operation that was just put in Word documents and sent to you. I mean, this whole thing was designed not to help patients. It was designed to help insurance companies. It was designed to help everybody except the person who just wants to go to the doctor and feel better. They're the last person anybody thinks about, which is the opposite of the way it should be. I think if I were messaging this for us, and I think that's how I would talk about it. We're just what's best for the patient, and then we'll work down from there. Right now, it's what's best for the insurance companies, and we work down from there. We got to turn that upside down. I think Trump is moving in that direction, but how you operationalize that in terms of policy, it's obviously a little messy.
And you're so right. Meeting people at that kitchen table. That's what we got to start doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this, and look, I also think this, and just on messaging, it's not going to work to tell people you're not feeling what you think you're feeling.
Yes.
I mean, Biden ran into this. You cannot talk people out of their lived experience, okay? If my experience is the grocery store is still more expensive than I want it to be, or if my experience is I don't feel like I can get ahead, I'm just barely being able to keep my nose above water, you can't talk people out of how they feel about their own life condition. What you can talk to them about is, what have I done to make it better? What am I going to do to make it better? And you can also listen. I mean, listening in politics is a powerful thing. And I do think presidencies run into this sometimes, and parties run into this. I don't want to listen. I want to tell. I want to tell you how you should be feeling instead of listening to how you are feeling. And a little listening, goes a long way in politics. Because I think people understand you can't fix all problems overnight. I agree with you. Trump has done so much over 10 months.
Totally.
But I actually think he has a lot of latitude because people know how deep the hole was that Biden dug.
Yep.
They're giving him space to get us out of it. But you still got to listen to them. You still have to listen to how they're feeling about it along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then, speaking of the messaging, there was so much after the election in New York City and Virginia, New Jersey, so much, hand-wringing about that. But we actually played a clip of you kind of reality checking the Tuesday election results that, these were, as you said, these were like Democrat strongholds. But don't you think that Republicans are kind of on the struggle bus right now with that good economy not being felt by a lot of people, particularly in the low and middle class? So, I worry when Trump says things like the economy is the best it's ever been, because to your point, if you don't feel that, you don't want to hear that from your president. You want to hear how it's going to be better.
Especially young people. We're hearing it because let's just face it, that's who elected Mamdani. It's these young people who are like, I can't afford a house. I want the free handout. I'm a freaking commie. I want this. I want daddy government to take care of me from cradle to grave. This is what we're seeing now. So those are the people that we have to reach, right?
I think I'll take the last one first. I agree with you on young people. And if you look at the educational splits in New York City, it was young people, but people with college degrees or advanced. Everybody with less than a college degree, Cuomo actually won them. It wasn't really the working class, the blue-collar people of New York that elected Mamdani. He sort of positions himself as a hood ornament for these people. He is a function of the college-educated or more than college-educated class in New York City, and people who recently moved there, who are dissatisfied with having moved to a city that's pretty expensive, and instead of having some job of their dreams, they're working gig jobs and they don't like it, and so they want somebody to pay for everything and take care of everything. The working class, I think, sees through the socialism piece, but these kids, they don't really, they're into it right now. And I don't know what you would ever tell them necessarily, other than to show them this is not going to work out the way they want. I mean, Mamdani's not going to be able to do any of the things he said he wanted to do. And to the extent that he tries, I think his rhetoric on it is going to be so divisive that it's really not going to work for him.
It's so 2.0 though. It's like because we went through this with the whole Tea Party. It's one of the reasons we started Chicks on the Right back in 2009 is because Obama was this big, shiny figure. Everybody was like, oh God, he's so great and charismatic. I love him. And I remember we were like, this is so bizarre. He came out of nowhere, out of thin air. He was a lot like Mamdani when it came to just charisma and his personality, everything. And I remember we made bumper stickers. Socialism sucks. because all these young people, we were young back then. It's like all these young people were like, you know what I mean? This was like almost 20 years ago. All these young people were like, it's so great. He's going to give us all this stuff and we don't have to work for it. It's like, he's going to take care of us, cradle to grave, same kind of thing. And we were like, this is insane. This is America. So it's the same premise, but now he's got the Islamic thing attached to it. So he's like this Islamo-commie, which is, it's just terrifying to me. All of it together is terrifying because it's not changing. It's getting worse. And I feel like sometimes I just feel very disheartened because I feel like we've been working all this time to try to change minds and hearts of people, especially young people. And they're like, nah, we'll take the free crap.
I'll give you my Scott's glass half full assessment of this.
Okay, thank you.
I think, well, first of all, in all 3 elections that Donald Trump has been on the ballot, in about half the counties in America, he has improved the Republican vote share. What is that? I love it.
It's like if you do hand signals, there's all kinds of weird stuff. I don't know why. We don't know.
I'll give you a thumbs up too. It's a Mac. I'm on a Mac, Scott.
So I'm trying to make a profound political science point. If you could just let me know.
Welcome to our show.
In counties in America, he has improved the Republican vote share each time. I think there's ample evidence that this youngest generation is actually more conservative than you might believe. I do think people are waking up to the fact that they've been sold a bill of goods, and I don't think they like necessarily being bombarded with constant messages that their country sucks and you should hate it.
Right.
I think people want to love their country, and I think people. I think right now among young people there is a little bit of a rejection of this idea of, the liberal worldview, which is nuclear families are oppressive.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who are keeping you down, and you need to rip this system out root and branch. We need to turn it upside down. I sense among young people right now, and they're having an idea like, wait a minute, maybe families are good. Maybe working hard for a living is good. Maybe building something is good. And so I'm actually thinking they went too far. I'll be honest. I think maybe
the pendulum.
Maybe they went too far. And then on the cultural stuff, they're tired of being divided up into subgroup after subgroup after subgroup. Why can't we all just be Americans who are in this together and we understand the virtues of family and hard work and merit and talent? I think there's something going on. We'll see how it manifests itself. It'll take some time.
I think we see that.
Like New York. It's different than, say, heartland America, where I think they're still very real.
That's the thing, I guess, because like Mock and I see that. Like our kids they're pretty, they're conservative. They're normal. They're normal kids who want normal things, and they love their country and they love their families. And so I do. And my daughter's friends are the same way. So I look around, and in my life experience, it is that way, Scott. But then I watch what happened in New York, and I'm like, what's going on? So it is.
Like I said on election night, it was a blue election in a blue city.
Yeah.
And, interestingly, Mamdani only won about 2/3 of Democrats. He didn't even win his whole party. A lot of Democrats went for Cuomo. So I think even in his election, he got about half the vote. There were still a lot of his own people who were like, I don't know about this.
Yeah. I'm not sure this guy's kind of whack.
I don't think it was all economics. I think some of it has to do with his anti-Jewish rhetoric. I think some of it has to do with his anti-police rhetoric. There's a lot of people in New York. there's more Jews in New York than any city outside of Tel Aviv. I think they're scared. And I think also people who live in New York inherently know, well, it'd be better if the police were on duty than, say, not on duty, which is what Mamdani believes. And it would be better if the criminals were in the prisons as opposed to not in the prisons, which is what Mamdani believes. And so
also
even a
common
third of his
sense.
own party went a different direction.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what about, because we've seen, as Daisy said, we've seen this sort of resurgence among young people of believing in family, believing in God, believing in church, all of those good things, especially as we saw from Charlie's memorial, for example. But then there's this new faction of like the Groypers and the Fuentes followers and people on our own side of the aisle who are acting like in ways that we cannot fathom, that we used to admire some of these people who are saying things that and platforming people that we're just like, what is even happening? What do you make of all that?
Well, first of all, I don't consider Fuentes to be a conservative. I don't consider him to be a Republican. I think he is a self-interested grifter who I don't know why anyone would give him any credence or credibility. I don't recognize his viewpoints as being conservative. He doesn't speak for me. I don't think he speaks for the broader conservative movement. But I do think he intends to infiltrate the movement and divide it and destroy it. I think that's what they want to do.
100%.
And I think the people who are trying to elevate him or platform him or, also this viewpoint of like, oh, well, free speech, we have to accept everybody and we have to therefore absorb every view. No, we don't.
Exactly,
Free
Scott.
speech is about government coercion. Like free speech is, is the government allowing me or stopping me from making a speech? Fuentes is allowed to do whatever he wants to do, but we as conservatives have agency to decide, do we want to be associated with that kind of speech?
Yeah.
Of course we don't. Of course we don't. We do not want to be associated with people who believe Hitler was good and, idolize Stalin and so on and so forth. That's not conservative, okay? It's not conservative. So on the grounds of free speech, you do not have to feel obligated as a conservative to absorb the viewpoint of every wacko that you see on your computer screen. I mean, he's on a computer screen. If he were standing on a street corner wearing a sandwich board, which is where he should be, he wouldn't pay any attention. There's really no difference between that and what he does on a computer screen. For some reason, when people do things on a computer screen, it seems to give them enhanced credibility.
So
4
true.
years ago, he'd be outside with a sandwich board, and you'd think, there's another crazy person. And that's how we are.
Yeah, and it's I was just going to say, like, it used to be, we're old enough to remember when we would shun the David Dukes of the world. And it's just like, no, you can't do that now. Because you're right. It goes back to the whole, it's free speech. It's like, I don't.
At the Republican Jewish Coalition meeting in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. And I said, our Republican leaders should not fear losing these people. And I sometimes worry about that. Like, people are too afraid to excommunicate folks. Well, I don't want to lose a supporter. I don't want to alienate people. Did you ever stop and think about the people you're alienating by keeping them?
Yes,
Scott. Exactly right.
Who do you want to be cozy with? And I think vast majority of Americans would not recognize those views as being legitimate political views in America, and they certainly wouldn't recognize them as being conservative views. But if you hold on to them, a lot of people who are in your movement are not going to want to be there anymore. They're toxic. They're radioactive, and so
and we're seeing that.
Courage to say that, and we have to have enough courage to get rid of the views that in no way, shape, or form represent the modern conservative movement, in my opinion.
So that's the question then, right? Like, this is the dilemma I think that conservatives are facing right now is there's the Matt Walsh's take, which is to ignore it completely, to like just not even discuss Fuentes, to just pretend he doesn't exist. And then there's the others who want to condemn him, who want to call out and say this is wrong and this does not belong in our party. So what is more likely, which strategy is more likely to kill the beast? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it to ignore or is it to condemn?
Great question. For most of my career on this stuff, I have ignored it. I have been of the Matt view, which is like, this person's not relevant to me. I don't recognize them as a legitimate person. I don't care what they think. And, I think there's always going to be crazy people who say crazy things. I don't have to elevate them to the level of legitimate. Now, this thing has burst onto the scene in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death and in the wake of some other debates going on around what's going on in the Middle East and so on. So I guess we're having to deal with it now. But I do think it would be a mistake to dwell on this and to focus on it every day. That's what they want. What's the old saying about never wrestle with a pig? The pig likes it.
That's right.
And that's what they want. The legitimization of them comes from people accepting them as equals on the debating front. I don't accept that person as an equal. I don't accept that person as a legitimate sparring partner, and I certainly don't accept that person as somebody who I would ever outsource the writing of the conservative movement or the Republican platform to. I wouldn't want them in the room when we were writing down, what do we believe in? That person's not going to be in that room that I'm in. Okay?
That's such a great point. I love that.
And so to deal with them every day, to grapple with it every day, does seem to me to be, they love it. Attention.
They love it, but isn't it kind of working?
I feel like
I feel like it's working though because of the stature, I guess, of the voices who are elevating him. Like when he gets a softball interview from Tucker Carlson, who has millions and millions of viewers, I don't know how we can't push back and can't call it out.
I agree, and I think a lot of people have. I mean, one thing I detect that's going on is since Donald Trump decided to engage in Middle East diplomacy, since he decided to take out Iran's nuclear weapons, which was a righteous decision, I have noticed that a bunch of people in that movement, in that space, have really worked really hard to try to destabilize the Trump movement and the Trump presidency. And I think the elevation of Fuentes in that interview that you referenced, this is nothing more than an attempt to destroy the conservative movement that Donald Trump now sits at the top of. They are mad at Trump for defying them.
Yeah,
remember,
it's a great.
Want Trump to do that. He predicted World War III. He said thousands of people would die in America. That, of course, didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're trying to punish Trump. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene right now.
I agree.
When she's
Totally
running.
agree.
By the way, the easiest way to get on TV as a Republican in America, attack your own people.
Right.
Yes.
She's on The View. She's running around on all these outlets. It is all because they're mad at Trump. And now they've decided, well, we're mad at him, so we're going to hurt him. We have to recognize that these are political actors. They didn't get their way, so their reaction to that wasn't to say, okay, he's our leader, we're going to follow. Their reaction to that is to try to destroy the guy, which is crazy. This is our president. We nominated this man. He's our leader. We're fighting the Democrats, and they're busy fighting him. We ought to recognize them for what they are, internally destructive forces.
Yeah. So this is a very, I know this is way early to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway, because we already know our bench is awesome. We have so many people on our side of the aisle that are just amazing people to choose. It's going to be so hard to choose from all these people in the next election, the presidential election. But I'm just curious who you think are the front runners on the left, because they're all losers and it's hard for me to, I'm just being honest. It's like, who are they? Who are these people? How are they going to figure out which loser to run?
I think they are in a similar place to where the Republicans were after 2012. They feel decimated. They feel defeated. They feel like their establishment has let them down. They feel like nobody's fighting hard enough. You saw that in this shutdown fight. You remember, Republicans had a lot of these same feelings. Just feeling like totally empty. And so what happened? Somebody from the outside who wasn't part of the regular order showed up and showed them a fighting spirit that they didn't sense in the people who were running, and kind of took control of it in really short order. I don't know what they're going to do, but I have a feeling there's a really good chance it's not going to be somebody from their regular order who takes.
You think it's going to be a wild card, like a total wild card?
Interesting. The conditions exist for them to have the same thing happen that happened to the Republicans. When you hit rock bottom, which I mean, look, after 2012, I felt like we were at rock bottom. We lost to Obama. We thought we were going to win. Mitt Romney was a moral man who would have been a great president, and the way they treated him, called him a murderer and so on. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And after the election, I thought, how did we let them get away with smearing Mitt Romney like this? And so anyway, I just think they're in the same spot. They can't imagine how Donald Trump came back.
Yeah.
They're so empty. They're so defeated. And so when you feel like your own people have let you down, you start looking for other people. And,
so they're going to pull like a Kardashian or like somebody out of like a celebrity sphere, and they're going to pull that person in, like a Mark Cuban or somebody.
I don't know.
I'm just pulling names.
There is not a singular politician on the left who looks like they're in control of that party.
Right.
I will say I wouldn't discount the possibility of someone from the Bernie AOC wing of the party. They almost got it before.
Right.
Yeah.
So, they're closer than you think. But I also just happen to believe that party right now is adrift. There's infighting. There's no real leader. There's no real direction. The energy in their party is on the socialist Mamdani side of the party. That's where their energy is. Do they have someone who's really able to steer the ship right now and looks like a national figure?
They could always ask Hillary again. You know she'd do it. She'd do it
out loud, because she'd do it.
She would.
She's going to convene a meeting of 47 consultants and start planning it.
I know, right? She's like, I'll do it.
One of the things that we've talked about recently as a potential wedge issue in our own party coming up in 2028 is this whole support for Israel issue, because that does seem to be, there's a split now on the right about that issue, how much we should be supporting, how much we should be funding, et cetera, et cetera. So do you think that J.D. Vance, assuming that he is sort of the natural ascendant to the nomination, do you think that he will withstand the pressure, or like, how do you think he's going to navigate the Israel issue?
You know, I do think part of this will be determined by how the president's efforts turn out. He's trying to expand the Abraham Accords. We've got a, very, very soft peace deal going there right now that saw the hostages come back, which was great. I don't know whether you could ever get Hamas to de-radicalize, lay down their arm. I don't personally believe that. My main interest in it was I wanted the hostages back, and we got them back, thank God.
Yes.
So, some of this may be determined by circumstances. What are the circumstances on the ground in the next 3 years? If Donald Trump gets Saudi Arabia and all these other Arab states into the Abraham Accords, I mean, you're dealing with a much different world order over there than what he inherited. And that may change, a J.D. Vance's view on what we have to do. I mean, if the president gets all these countries into it, I mean, we're in it. We're in it together at that point. You can't really walk away from that. Donald Trump built it. You don't want to walk away from what would be one of his biggest lasting achievements, which is stability in the Middle East. I do think J.D. Vance is skeptical of war. I think he's skeptical of military engagement, and I think he's skeptical of plunging the United States into conflicts. But in the case of the Middle East, I think what Trump has said is we only have to engage when absolutely necessary, and the rest of it really does need to be spent on diplomacy. And I do think Vance believes in diplomacy, but I think the circumstances of the Middle East in 3 years will probably determine how he shapes his policy. But I think if Trump gets what he wants, this expansion of the Abraham Accords and sort of this economic ties, between everyone, security arrangements between everyone, you just wouldn't want to walk away from that. I mean, what an achievement that would be, for President Trump. And it will be a feather in the cap of the Republican Party to have been the party that got you closer to peace in the Middle East, which every president wants and nobody can ever seem to achieve.
Yeah.
I wanted to congratulate you really, really quickly on being called out by Lawrence O'Donnell. Do you want to talk about that cat fight for a second?
We can discuss it. Well, so I don't know what happened, but the MSNBC people are so mad at me. It started with Keith Olbermann, who used to be on MSNBC, who called for me to be murdered. That happened a while back. And then
he's
Lawrence
stable.
Right.
Yes.
Totally stable.
O'Donnell went crazy. And his problem is that his show was on at 10 o'clock and Abby beats his pants off every night. That's the problem. I mean, his main problem is
he's mad.
A 73-year-old man who's getting his ass kicked by Abby Phillip every night, and he's trying to take it out on me. I don't have time to fix your show, Lawrence O'Donnell.
Bless his heart.
As much as I'd love to help you fix, I don't have time. I got plenty to say grace over here. That's his main problem, is his failing show that nobody cares about from a guy who, is long past his prime.
I actually forgot he was still on the. I forgot he was still on the network. Isn't that terrible? Like when you guys started talking about it, I was like, wait, he's still a thing?
Yeah.
But he's
still a thing.
Really
sorry.
He said something defamatory, which is that CNN pays me to lie. I mean, that was his direct statement.
That's not okay.
They pay Scott Jennings to lie.
Sue him.
You should sue him, Scott.
I'm thinking about it. I mean, honestly.
Do it.
If I were CNN, I'd be thinking about it too.
They should.
You know what they pay me to do? To give my authentic opinion based on the news of the day. That's what I do. I don't lie. I never lie.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you're the only reason that we watch CNN. So, and we probably speak for a lot of people, just being honest.
I appreciate you both. And I think there are a lot of people out there who are conservatives who are consuming CNN content in some way that maybe they weren't before. And that's a good thing.
Exactly.
But none of it's based on lies.
It's true. It's not based on lies. You're right.
What the left is really angry about is that they think that the media and all of its property should be a wholly owned subsidiary of the left.
Yeah.
They cannot. What he's really upset about is that there is a TV station in the world that would give a conservative a chance to give his opinion. That's it. He is incensed. And in his view, all conservatives should be driven from the public square. Mm-hmm. That is the most authoritarian worldview you can have.
And he's probably one of those guys he'll scream at the rooftops that he's like all for America and democracy.
No kings, right?
I know. Shut up, dude.
They don't. They do not want conservatives to be given a chance to make their arguments or to give any opinion whatsoever. And they don't want. They don't allow it on MSNBC. They don't want CNN to be allowed to do it. They think Fox News should be taken off the air. I mean, they truly, deeply want the media to be only one viewpoint.
Yep.
And anybody who runs afoul of that, well, you can see how they treat them. And so it's very totalitarian. It's very authoritarian.
Yep.
And I heard that in poor Lawrence's monologue the other day. But the main issue is he's tired of getting his ass kicked by Abby. And it finally got to him. He's under a lot of financial pressure. It's a failing network. And Abby's whooping his ass. And that's a problem.
Well, God bless him.
What about the rumors that Barry Weiss is recruiting you to come to CBS?
I know. I read all these things. I'm a huge Barry fan. She may save us all. She's great, and I wish only good things for her. I have been a huge fan of hers for a long time, and if she, ever wants to have a conversation about any issue, of course I'm going to take the call because I think she's one of the best things going in the media today. I mean, she's thinking about the news correctly, which is, how do I deliver the news and not the narrative?
Yes.
That's what people want. I want to give you the news. I don't want to give you the narrative. And that's her mission, is to correct this, not just at CBS, but at large. I think the media would be in far better shape with the American people if we stuck to the news and not the narratives. And oftentimes, that's what we get. And so, anyway, I don't really have anything to say about it other than I love Barry. And I wish her well. She has a huge job. But
she does.
Free press, I read it every morning. And it is, that kind of content is sorely needed in America. But you just don't get it from corporate media. If there's a market demand for it, obviously. I mean,
she could do for CBS what Elon did for Twitter.
Absolutely.
Look,
very synonymous.
We are long past the point where there needs to be serious corrections based on market forces. It's interesting. Media is often like impervious to the market. People are screaming, I don't like this. I don't trust this. I want something different. And sort of withstand it. But the market is speaking right now. Look at the polling. Look at the Gallup polling on trusted institutions. People don't trust the media. And I firmly want a trusted free press. I think it's necessary for American democracy. But we don't have one right now if you just go by the polling. And so how do you give people that? I think some of it has to do with authenticity. Barry is an extremely authentic person. She's a critical thinker, but there's a lot of authenticity in what she does and the content that she creates. People are desperate for authenticity right now. They want to know what you really think, not that you're just capable of reading a script that someone handed you.
And true journalism, which is just so wonderful. So, well, I mean, I know she watches our show, so maybe she'll see this.
Right.
Very excited for her to do that. Maybe we can facilitate something.
The 10 o'clock show on CNN is one of the more authentic attempts right now in mainstream media. It's largely unscripted. And it is, and when you have like a legitimate cast, debating the issues of the day, you can really, really have some interesting conversations.
Which is
great.
You've
been on the show with Possum Lady, with that Jennifer Welch lady. Like you've been in her presence of Possum Lady.
What does she look like in person? Does she hiss off camera? What is that like? Are you okay? Are you all right?
He's too good. He's not going to say anything.
You're not going to say anything, are you?
I will not. Some cast members are...
We'll say it for you. We're going to say all the things, Scott. We'll say it for you. She's reprehensible.
We were talking about the Fuentes issue earlier. Look what they have going on the left. They have people like that. They have a whole industry of people who are nasty, violent people who are driving their party in a direction that ultimately would make it unelectable nationally. So, even though we're having family conversations on the right about these issues, don't forget, on the left, they are dealing, in my opinion, with worse issues, and a lot of it has to do with violence. I mean, you listen to her, you listen to some. Look what they just elected in Virginia. I mean, they looked the other way and elected a guy in Virginia, attorney general, who wants to murder Republicans and see their kids die in their mother's arms. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy, but those people get such a following, and they get so. And I think that's what's so. It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart for my kids, and I just hope it's not emblematic of everybody. I want to think that people that don't hit the like button on that stuff are just not hitting the like button because they're too busy living their best lives doing other wonderful things.
I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think average everyday people are basically common sense, basically center right.
Right.
And they don't have a lot of time for the absolute extremes. People out there who are, farming this outrage for their own personal profit and amusement. Mm-hmm. Most people don't have time for that. Most people are just living life, trying to make life better for their kids, trying to make it to soccer practice on Saturday, trying to get ready for Thanksgiving. They're not so much engaged in outrage. They're engaged in family and in the future.
Are you going to be home for Thanksgiving? That. Please tell me yes.
Yes, I am going to be in New York a couple of days that week, but I will go home for Thanksgiving. So my book comes out on the 18th. Thanksgiving is, of course, I will have traveled a tremendous amount that first few days to do book appearances. I'm grinding it out. I've got so many public appearances.
I bet.
November, December, and January book, because people have been so generous. They're calling me, they're inviting me. We want to buy some books and have you sign them, and I'm doing as many of them as I can. I might not be on TV as much because I'm doing a lot of traveling, but I'm so grateful. I've been invited so many places to talk about the book and meet the people, and
you're having an impact, and people love you, and it's all deserved. One quick question, because I found out you and I have something in common, which I was not expecting, and that is that you go by your middle name. Correct. And I do too, and I wanted to get your story about that. Why do you do that?
Well, my father is Jeff Jennings, and my name is Jeffrey Scott Jennings. So I was named after my father, but growing up, my dad was Jeff, and so they decided to call me Scott at an early age, and that's just the way it's always been. And so my dad's Jeff, and I'm Scott, but we're both Jeffreys. And interesting, we both spell it unusually. It's Jefffery.
That is unusual.
A little unusual. I don't know why I don't know if they just accidentally juxtaposed the letters or if it was on purpose. But yes, that's the story. So when I signed the book, actually, I signed it J. Scott Jennings, and the J for both first and last names. So
fantastic.
All right, I didn't realize that.
I cannot wait to read the book. I can't wait.
I know, same. It's a revolution of common sense. Again, it's out on November 18th. It's available on Amazon right now if you want to pre-order. Where else can people know more about you, find out more about you, listen to you, watch you, etc.? Okay,
so on social media, I spend a lot of time on the X platform at Scott Jennings KY. That's also my handle for Facebook and
YouTube. Frozen?
I have a daily radio show on Salem that's 2 to 3 each day, and I stream it on all my platforms. So if you're not near a Salem station somewhere, you can listen to it. It's also in a podcast form. So if you go to Apple or Spotify and type in Scott Jennings Show, you can get it. Give me 34 minutes and I'll give you the world. I promise. And then on CNN, I'm around most days, a lot of nights at 10 o'clock. On Wednesdays, I typically do the 9 o'clock. I will be on the Sunday show, fairly frequently as well. But I try to appear across the network numerous times a week. And I'm making a lot of public appearances right now, and I'm going to try to keep people apprised of that on my social media about where I'm going to talk about the book and other things. So I'm not hard to find, but the best way to reach me is usually on X at Scott Jennings KY.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome.
All right. Well,
great to
and
talk
hopefully
to you.
More often here. You're always welcome.
Yes.
I just know that everywhere I go over the next few weeks, the trend will continue. Someone's going to walk up to me and say, please take a picture with me so I can send it to the chicks.
Oh, my gosh.
You all are going to be, your inbox will be flooded with pictures of me out on the road.
You're our favorite. You're our favorite. Scott Jennings. Everybody. There he is.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, guys. Good to see you all.
You too.